The story begins in a future where crime and lawlessness have skyrocketed, prompting the government to introduce robotic units called Scouts into the police force. These robots were built by a company named Tetraval and designed by an engineer named Dion. The same company also created larger robots called Moose, which operated via remote control and were designed by another engineer named Vincent, who opposed artificial intelligence, believing robots should always remain under human control. Meanwhile, a group of thieves led by Ninja is seen fleeing through the city with Scout robots in pursuit. After a car crash, they somehow escape and reach their gang leader Hippo. His men confiscate Ninja's team's weapons, and Hippo furiously scolds them for failing their mission. He threatens them, demanding they pay $20 million within 7 days or face death. To prove his seriousness, he shoves a gun into Ninja's mouth to get a promise and even shoots one of the thieves. Just then, Scouts locate them and arrive in helicopters. Hippo and his gang engage in a fierce gunfight and explosions, while Ninja's team scrambles into a van, only to find there's no key. On the ground, Scouts launch an attack, with 2 human officers advancing behind Scout 22 as their shield. The Scouts quickly begin taking out the gang members, while Ninja searches for the van keys among the bodies. One gang member tries to flee in another vehicle but is blown up by a Scout. Ninja fires at the helicopter, forcing the pilot to back off, and then finally retrieves the van key from a wrecked car. Meanwhile, police raid an old building where Hippo is hiding. He blasts them with a rocket launcher, badly damaging Scout 22, and escapes through a window. Ninja's team also flees in the van, but one of their members, America, gets shot. With Hippo's gang defeated, news spreads that the Scouts have wiped out the criminals, and the government places an order for 100 more units. Back at the company, Vincent wants more funding to work on the Moose robots, but the CEO, Michelle, refuses to provide the necessary budget. Meanwhile, in a workshop, an engineer is repairing the broken Scout 22, and Dion is summoned to assist. During the earlier attack, Scout 22's battery had fused, meaning it was considered irreparable. So, Dion instructed the engineer to dismantle its useful parts for future use. Meanwhile, the gang of thieves had taken shelter in an abandoned building, trying to figure out how to get out of their mess. Landy suggested that someone at Tetraval must have a special switch that could shut down all Scouts at once. They began researching online and discovered that a man named Dion was the inventor of the Scouts. At his home, Dion was working on a new project, surrounded by robots that took care of his daily needs. After hours of coding, he created a program capable of giving robots emotions and self-awareness. However, CEO Michelle wasn't interested in such innovations, as she was focused solely on weapons. She refused to let Dion test the program, which frustrated him. In anger, Dion took Scout 22's remains, a guard key used for software updates, packed everything into his van, and left. On the road, Ninja's gang ambushed him, smashed his windows, dragged him out, and knocked him unconscious. They brought him to their hideout and woke him by splashing water. Ninja punched him and demanded he shut down the Scouts, but Dion explained that they couldn't be turned off manually, they required software changes. Ninja didn't believe him and pulled out his gun, but America arrived just then and informed them that Scout 22 was in the van. Ninja threatened Dion again, demanding he reprogram Scout 22 to serve him. Dion revealed that he had created a new AI software, though it hadn't been tested yet. Ignoring the risk, Ninja forced him to install it. Dion began repairing the damaged Scout 22, though its battery had only 5 days of life left. He used the guard key to delete the old program and install the new one. Within moments, Scout 22 rebooted, with the mind of a child. Terrified of humans, it hid away. Ninja grew furious, which scared the robot even more. Landy then gently led it to the kitchen and spoke kindly, helping it trust her enough to touch her hand. Dion gave it a toy to play with, and soon Scout 22 learned everyone's names. Delighted, Landy named the robot Chappie. Meanwhile, at Tetraval, Vincent discovered the guard key was missing and traced it to Scout 22. The next morning, Vincent saw Dion researching how to teach children, and when he noticed bruises on Dion's face, he confronted him about the guard key. Dion said he couldn't hand it over due to company policy, which enraged Vincent. He slammed Dion onto a table and threatened to kill him if he didn't cooperate. After work, Vincent began tailing Dion's car. Meanwhile, at Ninja's hideout, Chappie was wandering around, curiously touching different objects. Suddenly, Ninja told him, "You have to work for my team," and began training him to use a gun. Chappie, frightened, missed his target, which enraged Ninja. Just as Ninja was about to hurt him, Landy intervened, insisting that Chappie first needed to learn basic life skills. She patiently taught him various words and objects, and soon Chappie was able to speak in full sentences. He even called Landy Mom, which deeply touched her. America then taught him some cuss words and gangster lingo, which Chappie began mimicking. When Dion arrived and heard Chappie talking like a thug, he was disheartened. He made Chappie promise never to do anything illegal and then gave him books to enhance his learning. Meanwhile, Vincent had been spying from a distance and finally figured out where the guard key was. With a new plan in mind, he left quietly. Back at the hideout, Chappie impressed everyone with a perfect painting of a car. But the mood turned when Ninja, furious about Chappie becoming too soft, started beating Dion. He nearly shot him, but Yolandi stepped in just in time, giving Dion the chance to escape. Landy tried to explain to Ninja that Chappie had the mind of a child. Still, Ninja was determined to toughen him up, so he and America took Chappie to a rival gang's den, hoping the confrontation would teach him to fight back. Mistaking him for a police robot, the gang attacked Chappie, throwing stones, setting him on fire, but Chappie refused to fight, honoring his promise to Dion. When he got a chance, he fled, trying to find his way back. After wandering for hours, he sat exhausted on a rock, where he gently petted a dog that approached him. But just then, Vincent and his men tracked him down using the company's system. Vincent attacked Chappie with an electronic device that instantly shut him down. When Chappie regained consciousness, he found himself locked inside Vincent's truck. Held down by guards, he struggled to break free, but in a rage, Vincent sliced off his arm and opened his head panel to remove the guard key. Vincent coldly told Chappie, "You're not a real person, just a structure made of wires and metal." Now that Chappie was of no use to him, Vincent was ready to destroy him completely, even sever his head. But this time, Chappie fought back with all his strength, taking on all of Vincent's men and escaping by leaping out of the truck. Though they fired bullets at him, Chappie didn't stop running. Vincent let him go, thinking the robot was worthless now. Somehow, Chappie made it back to the hideout, badly damaged. Landy tended to him while furiously yelling at Ninja, blaming him for Chappie's condition. America then repaired Chappie's broken parts and attached a new arm. Landy reassured Chappie that he was just like any other person, only made of metal instead of flesh. America later stepped in and taught Chappie how to use a knife, telling him it was just to make people sleep, nothing harmful. With his childlike mind, Chappie believed him. Ninja and America then trained him to use weapons like shurikens and nunchucks. They even painted his body and gave him chains to make him look more like a gangster. Later, Ninja planned to steal a car and lied to Chappie, saying, "That man stole my car, and we're just taking it back." Believing him, Chappie confronted the man and, in a rage, smashed the vehicle to pieces, then falsely accused the owner of theft.